What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on last night's episode of Teen Mom 2. In California, thanks you guys, Ashley decides to throw Bar a surprise party to celebrate him getting his GED. And so she wants to have all the special people in his life, even if she personally doesn't necessarily get along with them. And by that, she means his mother, Shen. So she extends the invite to her and lets her know that she is going to be inviting her to this keyword surprise party for Bar. Then Ashley puts on her best church granny hat to talk to her sister about the guest list. Meanwhile, in West Virginia, Leah the preacher announces to her producer that Jeremy has tested positive for COVID. She describes his symptoms as not being able to taste or smell, and then she educates us on COVID in general for the millionth time, so I fast forward through her as usual. It's been a week since Devon was late to pick up Nova, and he actually hasn't been able to see her since, and I don't know if that means that Briana has been withholding him from her, like as a punishment or something like that. Remember earlier, she did fess up to doing something like that for 3 weeks, but this time she just plays coy and says that it's been about a week since Devon has seen Nova. But I'm kind of curious, well, how long has it been since Lewis last ghosted Stella? And did you ever respond to his text messages, Briana? Why are we not getting that storyline as well? Now, she actually introduces the new guy that she's been dating to us by talking about him. And remember, I've done a couple of videos about their relationship as it's played out on social media. He bought her a Prada purse. She bought him a rifle. He's a tattoo artist and they are currently engaged. I don't have time to make a video about that, by the way, you guys. I am leaving on vacation tomorrow. I'm going to Greece for about a week and a half and I can't even have my computer over there. So I'm going to be MIA on some of this stuff for a bit. She says that he looks rough, but is a good guy and that their kids have met each other. And, of course, that means he's met her kids as well. And she is going to get a tattoo done by him on her arm. And, the funny thing as she's headed off to do this and she's talking about this guy is that she's wearing the exact same outfit that she wore to announce to us that Lewis gave her crabs. So she is on her way in the car to his studio and, she gets a text from him saying, oh my God, I'm not ready. He's really nervous about appearing on camera. And then she talks about how, guys are like that. Remember her last boyfriend, Jonathan, or something like that. He was super duper awkward around the cameras. And she talks about that. And she starts to get stressed out herself because, when someone else is stressed out and they're uncomfortable and you don't want someone you care about to be stressed out or uncomfortable because of you, especially when it's going to be broadcasted, I totally got her anxiety. And I really liked how when they arrived, she decided to go talk to him without the cameras first to make sure that everything was okay before welcoming the cameras into the studio. I was like, yes, girl, that's it. So next we see Lincoln's football game, a brief little glimpse of Creed as well. And Kale talks about wanting to find something that Isaac is passionate about. So he's not glued to his computer 24/7. That's one of the things about the pandemic, depending on where you're living. I know that back where I'm from in Ontario, they were shutting down, they still are shutting down outdoor playgrounds for kids. So what exactly are they able to do? You know what I mean? Other than, just sit around on their computers or their phones or whatever it is that they might have. And of course, that's not the greatest thing for social development. So I really got, Kale wanting to find something that Isaac can be passionate about. And they are also really lucky that, her kids are able to be in sports groups at this moment. By the way, she talks about this a lot on her podcast. To me, it kind of feels like old news because I know in a recent episode, she announced that, she put him into piano lessons. And then in her final kind of little bit of the scene, I feel like she got a longer scene than everybody else here, but she's talking to Isaac about his feelings towards the pandemic. And I was like, listen, the pandemic's depressing. I'm sure he's depressed. We're all depressed. So I don't want to listen to it. You guys know that. I don't like hearing about the pandemic on TV. I want to escape from it. Now, in Indiana, Sean proposed to Jade the other night, but she wasn't really into it. And I'm sure she sees through it, his proposal as him just trying to lock down his future with her. And I am really proud of her for not falling for the okie doke because that guy is just plain dead weight. She tells her producer that she is holding off on wearing the ring. And then, when the producer asks what they would kind of call their relationship right now, obviously digging to see whether or not Jade herself feels as though they're engaged, Jade says that she considers them to be quote unquote homies. And I was like, oh my God, dagger to the freaking heart. Imagine you go and get someone this like, ring and, propose, and they see you as a homie. I don't know how Sean managed to just sit there for that and kind of like co-sign it and give her props. I was like, dude, this is so freaking embarrassing. Like, why don't you get the hint that she is not in the same place that you're at? This producer wanted her content, y'all. She even insisted on Sean getting up to show us the allegedly 3-carat diamond ring that he had bought for Jade. Remember, this is the same guy who couldn't even get her a bottle of tequila without asking her to give him her cash first, right? So, I get why she was so curious. She was doing the Lord's work here. It was a very, very, very big and blingy ring. I do have to give him that. It was like a Super Bowl size of a ring, but in true Sean fashion, he couldn't even get her sizing right. So Jade says that the ring won't fix their problems. And she's like, remember, we've been engaged. We were engaged 3 to 4 years ago, but I gave back the ring because it just didn't feel right. And we got to look at the ring that he had originally proposed to her with, and it was a lot more simple than the current one. Maybe Sean thought that if he went bigger, she would, ultimately walk down the aisle with him or something. But unfortunately, that was not the case this time. Back down south in Florida, we get to see Briana get her tattoo by her boyfriend, Javi, and, she gets a rose, and it's actually how they initially met. Actually, let's pause here. The fact that Briana is getting tattooed by a Javi, and, a couple seasons past, we saw her get matching tattoos with another Javi is a little bit, ironic to me, but I digress. So anyway, that is how they met. Briana was looking to get a tattoo done. Then she saw his Instagram page and connected with him about it. And then, they kind of hit it off from there. And so when her friend asked, they say that they'd been kind of dating for about 5 to 6 months at the time. Well, they described it as talking. And to me, talking is like what some people would describe as like the pre-dating stage, like I don't think you like kind of talk to someone for 5 to 6 months. As far as I'm aware, I don't know. Usually to me, I don't know, like, what is it, like a month or something like that? But they said it was that long. And so I was kind of like, okay, well, this was filmed quite recently because they're already engaged at the 8-month mark, and they were already 5 to 6 months here. So, the season was filmed quite recently to it airing, which is quite interesting of a tidbit there. By the way, Brianna's brows, in her confessional here, they make me want to get microblading done. Like, they look so natural and good and like well arched. I really need to find a good microblader who is not going to give me like block, Sharpie eyebrows. They look really good. So back in California again, Bar's mom called to tell him that Ashley was throwing him a surprise party. Why the heck would she do that? She is so sabotaging and shady. I think based on the stuff that you guys have told me about her and some of the highlights I've seen on like the Teen Mom YouTube channel, I think that she's one of those like creepy moms who's like in love with their sons and see their sons' girlfriends, wives, fiancés, whatever as competition, and they feel bitter about the fact that they're all alone and their son have a significant other. Like it's just weird. She seems very creepy to me so far. It really made me sad also that Bar felt the need to apologize to Ashley. He wasn't even like, I'm apologizing on behalf of my mom. He apologized as if he ruined his own surprise party. And I was like, you know what? Like the amount of like freaking guilt or whatever that this man must carry, like because of his trash ass mom, is probably astronomical. And I really feel for him in that respect. Back over in Dover, Kail's nanny descends into the kitchen holding Creed and then passes him off to her son, who acts as Kail's second nanny, but she's still being described as Kail's friend. And we never even really get a tagline for what the hell her son is to Kail. Did you ever notice that? He kind of just appears on screen, handling her kids every once in a while or watching them or whatever, but never with an actual tagline. It's all kind of weird. Kail talks to her about wanting to find a passion for Isaac. Again, I skipped through it because we know it's piano if you listen to her podcast, and I am bored. Meanwhile, in West Virginia, Leah and Addie self-administer their COVID tests, and then she and her eyebrows call Corey to tell him about it. And so, he says that he's going to keep the twins at his place a little bit longer. And then, he gets into his own diary cam and shows himself doing self-testing with the twins as well. Then we're back in California where Ashley vents to her friend Jessica about, Bar's mom, Shen, ruining the surprise party that she had planned for Bar. Back up north in Indiana, Jade's friend Chow, I really like this girl. Like, she's just so like cute to me. You know, she just comes along with this like super deep, interesting, like cool, unique voice. Doesn't she sound like the chick? If you're on TikTok, she does like this challenge where it's like, you the baddest bitch on the block, just a daily reminder. Not on my blog though, but on your blog for sure. She sounds like that girl, right? So she asked Sean if, you know, he's planning on getting his own place, but that man just spent all his money on an engagement ring. So of course he is not getting his own place. You know, he plays coy and says, we'll see, but we all already know the answer. He tells Chow about the proposal that he gave to Jade and the ring and everything, and he shows her. And then we actually get a much better glimpse of the ring. Before we only got to see it from the side, but here we get a nice bird's eye view. And we can see that it is more of a cluster ring. And so he brags again about it being 3 carats. But again, there's a massive difference between a 3 carat solitaire versus 3 carat total weight. I feel like I'm an amateur gemologist. I'm a little bit obsessed with this kind of stuff. But it's no judgment about either or. It's just a little bit of a differentiation between the two. I kind of start to feel bad for Sean at this point because you can tell that he really wants to be engaged to Jade, but like, she really doesn't want to be engaged to him. And I don't know, like it kind of feels like everyone around him knows but him. And then that kind of starts to tug at my heart. It's like, this poor guy doesn't know, you know, like she knows, her friend knows. She's kind of like low-key shading him by asking when he's planning to get his own place. You know what I mean? And then like he like is so excited to show her the ring. And then she kind of just like looks at it, says it's cute, then moves on. You know what I mean? Then the producer situation, I kind of feel for him. I really want him to kind of just work on himself because you remember in the first episode of the season, he was talking about how Jade was doing much better than him and how he was starting to get depressed. And I feel like that is only getting worse and worse, and it is continuing to go unchecked. And I would really like to see him, you know, kind of do something about it because I kind of feel like, you know, the situation with Jade right now is probably only going to drive him further into depression. And of course, we don't want to see that happen to him. Chow then asks about prenups here. And then Jade says that, listen, she would absolutely want to get a prenup if she were to get married, but termite Sean doesn't want to do that. He actually shakes his head no, because of course, marrying Jade is his idea of a retirement plan. By the way, you guys, I didn't realize that Jade was only 24 years old. I knew she was younger than the other girls, but something kind of just seems a little bit older about her. So I kind of thought she was like at least 26 years old at this point. Anyway, back over in Dover, Kail talks to us about building her house, but this girl has moved so many times that I truly don't care and I have to skip through it. I do have to say, though, that I thought it was awesome that she decided to involve Isaac in picking out some of the design aspects of her home because, you know, he's a very creative person and she thought that might, you know, ignite some passion for, you know, like design or art or something in him. So now, you guys, in the final scene of the episode, we find out that Bar's mom didn't even end up coming to the surprise party that she ruined for him. Like she just ruined it and decided not to come anyway. You know, like that is truly like toxic, truly awful, you know? What a grade A, bitch. Bar then sits down with Ashley in the bedroom to announce to her that he doesn't want his mom coming to their wedding or any of the parties leading up to the wedding. And I have to say, I am so proud of him for making that decision because it's so hard to cut off your toxic parents because, you know, people always preach, oh, like you only have one set of parents or family, like, you know, blood is thicker than water or this or that. You have to, whether they're like this or like that. So for him to make that decision, recognize that his mom is not healthy for him, healthy for his wife, probably not even healthy for his child, and just cut her off altogether and move forward in truly like picking his own family first. Like his new family is, you know, his fiance, Ashley, and their daughter, Holly. And for him to be so young and already willing to do that, when you hear of so many stories of like, you know, especially men, mama's boys, like their moms don't respect their wives, their fiancés, their girlfriends at all whatsoever. And they make excuses for it time and time again. And they don't like draw a line in the sand. I'm really happy to see Bar so young and already doing that for his family. And Ashley was very supportive of it as well. You know, she did not like gloat in his face or anything like that, despite her own turbulent relationship with his mother. She was like, I'm sorry that you even have to make this decision. And I find her to be just so sweet, so validating, so supportive. A lot of people were like, oh my God, she is so drama. She is so this and she's so that. But to me, out of everybody, I find her to be the most intelligent, level-headed and like the best partner. Like, I think she's absolutely amazing. I am really, really loving her. And I'm so excited to see more of her. Like, she's always just been, to me so far, but remember, I've only seen a couple episodes of this girl, but so far she has been nothing short of amazing towards Bar. And I'm really, digging this. Anyway, you guys, that does it. A recap of what went down on last night's episode of Teen Mom 2. But as usual, I'm more excited to hear what you have to say about everything. So please make sure to let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.